I'd like you to think about the last time you did a promotion over email. So let's say you launched a new product or service. You sent out a bunch of emails that tried to get people to buy. You gave people a deadline. So, buy by Friday and you'll get 20% off. Friday comes around, the sale ends. You hopefully made a lot of money. You're happy. Your customers are happy. Everything's great. But the reality is when you actually dig into the numbers, you probably see that 97+% of people who got your email did not buy from you. And that's normal, right? Like not everyone is going to buy. The overwhelming majority of people who get your emails that are promoting something are not going to buy from you. Plain and simple. But the question that I want to pose to you and what I'd like to start this video by kind of exploring is, why didn't they buy? What held them back? What objections do they have? Were they even considering buying? And how can you find this out without needing to get on phone calls with everyone? How can you do this, get this information in a way that's scalable, and then use this information to then reinforce and strengthen the next promotion you do? So that's what we're going to cover today, is how you can do this using RightMessage, using our flow builder to make it so that you launch your product. When people don't buy, the following week, you send them a very simple email that says something like, hey, saw you didn't buy, perfectly fine. Would you mind sharing in 10 to 20 seconds a bit about what held you back? Click here. So they click that link, it goes to your website, you have your RightMessage non-buyer survey running on it. They answer questions, that data gets sent up to their email record, and then RightMessage itself reports on that on an aggregate level to give you information about what actually made people not buy from you. And then from there, of course, you can then do a few things. You can either learn from that information at scale and strengthen your emails the next time you send them. Or if you want to get fancy, you could send automated email campaigns that follow up with people depending on why they didn't buy, and then try to win them back and try to convert them again. And that's kind of out of scope from this video. I don't want that's a complete video in its own right, how to do that. But today I just want to talk about how do you get the data, what data should you get, and how do you set it up in RightMessage. So I'm going to switch over to my shared display. I'm going to walk you through how this all works. So within RightMessage, the very first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a brand new flow. And this flow is going to be, again, tasked with finding out, why did somebody not buy? So I kind of cheated, and I used Claude over here to basically give me this non-buyer segmentation survey. So you're free to kind of riff off this. I'll put a better example of this in the description for this video. But basically what I asked Claude was, help me create a non-linear survey that I can send to people who I pitch, but they didn't buy for whatever reason. I'd like the survey to start with a question about whether they were even considering signing up for RightMessage, and then follow up to find out why, with the reasons boiling down to they either think the price is off, so it's too expensive, they don't have time, so they're, it's not a priority for them. They don't think it'll help them, so they don't trust that personalized marketing will actually make a dent in their business, or they missed the promotion window. And then I gave it some clarification on it, like if it's due to price, it signals that they didn't see value, and so on and so forth. And what it did is it spit out here a bunch of questions that I'm now going to load into RightMessage. And these are going to be nonlinear questions. So I'm not going to have, question 1, question 2, question 3 that everyone gets. Instead, it's going to be like a Christmas tree where people start at the top and then they're going to go down different branches depending on how they answer questions. So within this is how it's going to work. I'm going to literally copy and paste from Claude directly into RightMessage. We could use Righty down here to help us build this stuff. And frankly, it is one of those tools that can make it a lot easier to build out flows. The problem, though, with Righty at the minute is it doesn't have context about my business, whereas Claude, within this project, has a ton of context about RightMessage, how it works, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to do it through that. But again, you can definitely use our built-in AI widget to do this yourself, too. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set up the widget that is going to run the survey. So I'm going to go and create new widget at the top. I'm going to call this survey embed and choose embedded because I want to have this embedded on a page on my website. I'm going to click create. Now I could go in and design this, but I'm not going to do that yet because, that's something for, again, another video. But what I've done now is I've set up a widget that I can then embed on my website. I take this code here and put it wherever I want it on the website. So I'd set up like a / I don't know, launch survey or something like that, and embed the widget there. But I'm going to start by adding in some questions. So the very first question that I'd like to add is the following. Were you considering signing up for RightMessage during the promotion? So I'm going to choose multiple choice question, paste this in, and then I'm just going to copy these bullet points, do the same thing here. And you can see that we'll automatically kind of extract it out for you. So were they thinking about buying during the promo? Yes. I'm just going to make this yes or no. A very simple yes/no question. So this is the first question that people will get. So they get to the survey, were you considering signing up? And then this is where the power of RightMessage really shines. I'm going to click these 3 dots and choose route off this question. And now we're going to send people down a different pathway depending on how they answer this question. And you can see here why they didn't sign up if they were considering. So if they considered sign up, if they were thinking about buying, so you could see it gave me this condition, what held you back from signing up? So I'm going to add a new question now that does this. So I'm going to drag out a question, multiple choice. What held you back from signing up? And I'm just going to paste in this stuff. There we go. I'm going to get rid of something else. And I'm going to make this an other option. So now we can, we'll have the ability for users to type in like free-form text into here. So now they answer yes. And then we said, okay, what held you back from signing up? And then we'll do the same thing on the no branch, which is why it wasn't on their radar. So why they said no. So I'm going to do another question, multiple choice. What's the main reason? And again, this is going to be a different set of questions or reasons that somebody might have for not buying. I'm going to call this no sign up main reason, or no interest, I should say. No interest main reason. Cool. Okay, so you can see here, the answer no. What's the main reason? Don't understand what it does. Happy with my current setup. Other priorities, not right for my business. Cool. Okay, so both of these, so price. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing now, where we're going to split off their holdback reason if they were thinking about signing up for RightMessage. So I'm going to do the same thing. And now you can see we have a whole nother series of pathways. So we're slowly building it out a very complex funnel here. But we're now going to drill down and really surface what held somebody back from signing up. So if it was due to pricing, when you think about price, what feels off? So again, this sounds good. So I'm going to just drag this out here. Same deal. When you think about price, what feels off? Also, I've been having internet hiccups today, so you might see this every once in a while. There's a few things that I'm trying to figure out with my at-home internet that are causing me grief. Okay, so pricing. Not sure I'd use it enough to justify the cost. Don't see how it would increase my sales. I need to see ROI. It's outside of my budget right now. And if they say they're not sure they'd use it enough to justify the cost, same thing. Let's drill down even further. Another question. There we go. And you can see all I'm doing is I'm kind of chatting with AI over here to help me put together this survey. And I'm loading it through copy and pasting into RightMessage. And what I've done is so far, I've built this tree view out where, I'm going to keep branching off and making it so when somebody goes through this, were you considering signing up? Yes. What held you back? The price didn't feel right. When you think about price, what feels off? Not sure I used enough to justify. You can see how it's just the questions being asked are very, very specific to them. And you can see probably how, given once I build all of this out, which there's a lot here, so I'm not going to bore you by building out this entire funnel here or this entire flow. But the idea is that you're going to be able to get a really good understanding of people, where it's not just surface level stuff like, oh, the pricing was off or whatever else. Instead, we're able to really drill down and find out what specifically was off about the pricing. Don't think it would, I'd get an ROI or something, or I need to see an ROI before I commit or something. And then we can follow up and dig into that a little deeper. And on your dashboard in RightMessage, you're going to have all this information first off. So you'll be able to see exactly, both into that on the dashboard and here, once people start flowing through this, you'll be able to see the count of people flowing through this. We actually even have a heat map feature where you'll be able to turn on a heat map and see how are people going down this and which pathway is getting the most people going through it. And what this can help you do is, well, it should be hopefully pretty obvious, but what it helps me as a marketer do is think, okay, a lot of people are saying that they need to see ROI or something before they commit. So maybe when we're doing the promotion emails next time, we talk about a free trial, but why don't we mention that if they need their trial extended or something, we're happy to do that for them. We're happy to extend it as long as they need. Or if it's outside of their budget right now, maybe, frankly, there's not much we can do about that. But, don't see how it would increase sales. This person is not seeing how the case study data and the testimonial data and the before and after data, maybe it's not registering with them. Maybe it's just not, we need more of it. We need to make it a lot more front and center. I look at this, once this is up and running, as a bug reporting system for my sales emails. So I'm doing sales emails, and some of these are automated. So maybe you're doing like a welcome sequence that goes into an evergreen automated pitch. People get pitched, and then afterward you send out this email that does this deep dive with them into why they didn't buy. And then every single week, as people flow through this, you're getting new data about what the issue is and why people aren't buying, and so on and so forth. So what I'd recommend you do is, really think through and use AI for this, honestly. Like, it makes it so easy for you to kind of brainstorm this stuff, but really think through, like, what are the objections people have when you pitch them on your product or service? Now, there's sometimes, like, this could be another case for us. Sometimes they need, like, their boss's approval, or they need to go through procurement or something. And in that case, we can actually capture that and maybe trigger an automated email that says, oh, you needed, procurement needs to sign off. Like, we've sold you, the user, but you need your boss or some department to authorize RightMessage. Here's a PDF one-pager that you can give to them, or here's like a white paper or whatever the corporate term is. So you can really make this to be something that ideally is really interesting and useful for the person doing this, because it's something that ultimately enables them to win with you. So if they're not sure it would work for them, this gives you the opportunity to, even through the questions you ask, to follow up with pointed questions that could help show them that, hey, we've got like a demo process that, if you're not sure if it would work for you, why don't you book a demo? And that could be a question like, would you be up for getting on a demo with a founder to learn more about how RightMessage could help you? Yes or no. You can use this as a way to kind of promote certain things or give people, resources like the white paper PDF thing I mentioned a second ago. And yeah, I'm not going to bore you by building it out, but you can see here how Claude helped me build out a really good, segmentation survey that I'll send to non-buyers. And one other thing too that we do, so this is a really good example right here of it, like the visual map of ultimately what we'd be building, where there's a different set of questions for those who were thinking about buying and those who weren't. But one thing we can also do is asking for open-ended feedback, ideally near the end. So I'm not a big fan of asking people to type into big text areas as like the first question, because that's a lot of work, that's a lot of friction. But if somebody's gone through and answered 6-7 questions of yours, you can use RightMessage to have a very pointed question at the end. So let's do this real quick. So let's say, at the end of the yes path, I'm going to add an optional open-ended question like, would you mind sharing more in 1 to 2 sentences? What held you what held you back in your own words? Something like this, right? So, the idea here is that they go through your multi-choice question survey, and then right before the end of it, you ask them to complete an open-ended question that will get raw, free-form voice-to-customer data to help augment the structured data you're getting from this. So in this case, they were thinking about buying. The price held them back. They weren't sure they'd use it enough to justify the cost, and they don't have enough traffic yet. Cool. Now let's capture in their own words a bit about what that actually means, like why, to go a bit deeper probably with that, right? And I can actually use RightMessage's personalization here to select the what held you back bit. Let me just get the name of this question, price concern, or sign up holdback, right? So I can just say, what held you back? Select that and do sign up holdback, this is an account that I have a ton of different templates and such in, so it's a bit overwhelming. But the idea here is we can say, what held you back? Why the price fell off? Why, what circumstantially is making it so you don't have the time? Why you think RightMessage won't work for you, and so on. So the idea here is this text would then get personalized so that if they said that the price felt right or didn't feel right, would you mind sharing in 1 to 2 sentences why the price fell off in your own words? So even this open-ended follow-up question right here is going to get personalized based on what they answered up here. And you probably saw here that one of the things here is I missed the deadline. Well, if they missed the deadline, I probably just want to give them another opportunity to buy. So I can actually add a condition right up here, right above that question. So I just dragged out a condition right before the open-ended thing saying if the sign-up holdback, I think is what we called it, right? Yeah, if the sign-up holdback is miss the deadline, let's just give them a offer. Sign up for RightMessage for 10% off, even though you missed the promotion deadline. So I'm using AI here to help me come up with a little offer I can give people who said that they missed the deadline. There we go. So don't miss out, get 10% off, miss the promotion deadline, no problem. We're extending and then I just put in the link to sign up or the coupon code or whatever else here. And then I'll move this guy up here. And then now what we're doing is if they miss the deadline, yes, we're going to show them this. Otherwise, we're going to ask them to share more about how their concern held them back. So the real power of RightMessage is this ability to look at data, look at what they've shared, look at a question they answered, a few questions back, and make decisions based off that. So show them a targeted offer, show them an open-ended follow-up question. This follow-up question would then lead probably to another another offer that's personalized to them. So, if the issue was they don't have enough time or they ran out of time or something like that, you give those people a double trial length offer. If it was they don't have the bandwidth, let's say that they don't have enough time and it's really because their team is just overwhelmed with stuff. Cool. Here's an offer for our done for you service or our partner program or something like that. So the idea here is that, yeah, we're getting great data, but we want to use the survey to then recommend a specific next step to somebody at the end. So depending on how they just answered these questions, we want to give them a very specific thing to do next. And again, the goal there is just get more people to think, oh, right, yeah, okay, yeah, I don't have enough time because we're overwhelmed internally. Wow, they have a done for you service. I can just pay them to set everything up for me. Buy now. So yeah, again, the thing that we've seen increasingly from customers of ours who have employed this is that this is a great flywheel for getting data that you probably don't have now. You probably might know that you have a pricing misalignment with some people, or an issue where people just don't feel like buying your thing is a priority for them right now. It's one thing to know that at a gut level. It's another thing to have structured data around that. So RightMessage gives you that structured data. We associate it, like I mentioned earlier, with their record in your email platform or CRM. So if you're reaching out to them again, you can actually reference the fact that, oh, they shared X, Y, and Z. So maybe the way I reach out to them needs to be different. But you can also use the survey to recommend a specific next step to them based on what they just answered. So again, I'm not going to go through and set everything up for you, but or in this video, I should say, but you can see here how, hopefully you can see the benefit of doing this. And again, in terms of rolling this out, all you would need to do is once you're ready, you take this survey embed code here, you put it on a page on your website where you're going to link people to after your promotions. So again, maybe like launch survey or launch next step or something like that. On that page, you'd put a very simple explainer, or you just embed our survey directly on it. We'll automatically know when people from your list are clicking over to it, so they won't need to type in their email address or anything like that. There's no Zapier at play or crazy things like that. Instead, they click a link, they go to the survey, they start clicking on buttons or typing in freeform text. That data gets associated with them automatically. And then they're pitched at the end on a recommended next step based on how they answered. Hopefully some percentage of those people will then take you up on that and buy, which is great. But most importantly, you're just going to have all this great data to work with, both structured data and freeform data, which will help you strengthen things like your sales page or your sales emails or whatever continuously using this flywheel that you've set up. So again, hopefully this makes a bit of sense. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions about how this all works and what I've set up, or if you've done something like this and want to share a bit about how it's worked for you. I'd love to hear from you. But yeah, I'm looking forward to chatting with you all in the comments, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.